Welcome to a chilling tale set in the quiet, mysterious town of Rivertown, where the peaceful river holds a dark, unsettling secret. Tonight, we dive into a story of fear, suspense, and the unknown. What happens when a young man, skeptical of old town legends, dares to venture too close to the haunted river? Stay tuned to find out. This is a story that will leave you questioning what lurks in the shadows.
The Mystery by the Riverside at Dusk. It was a quiet evening in the small town of Rivertown. The sun was setting over the horizon, casting a golden glow over the trees and the river that snaked its way along the edge of the town. The locals had long since retreated to their homes, closing their doors as soon as dusk approached. No one wanted to be near the river when the light faded. There were too many old stories about strange occurrences along its banks after dark. Rivertown had always been known for its quaint charm, a place where everyone knew each other and life moved at a slow, comfortable pace. But even the most peaceful towns have their secrets, and Rivertown's secret lay in the whispers about what happened by the river at night. Jake had heard those whispers all his life. Growing up in Rivertown, he had listened to the stories his grandparents told, stories of people who had wandered too close to the river after sunset and were never seen again. According to the older folks, there had always been something strange about the river. Some said it was cursed, others believed that something otherworldly lurked beneath its surface. But Jake, a recent college graduate, didn't believe in those old legends. He was a man of logic, and the idea of a haunted river seemed ridiculous to him. One evening, just as the sun began to dip below the horizon, Jake decided to prove to himself that there was nothing to fear. Armed with nothing more than his phone and a flashlight, he made his way down to the riverbank. He had heard the tales of people disappearing, but he chalked it up to superstition. As he approached the river, the cool breeze brushed against his face, and the air smelled fresh, mixed with the earthy scent of the trees. Jake stood by the river's edge, looking out at the calm water. Everything seemed perfectly normal. The current flowed steadily, reflecting the last glimmers of daylight. He laughed to himself, thinking how foolish everyone was to believe in ghost stories. But just as he was about to turn back toward town, the wind stopped. The leaves on the trees went still, and an unsettling silence descended. A shiver ran down Jake's spine, and he instinctively reached for his flashlight. He flicked it on and scanned the area. The beam of light illuminated the trees, the river, and the empty path ahead. There was nothing out of the ordinary, at least, not yet. But then he heard it. At first it was barely a sound, just a faint whisper carried on the breeze. Jake paused, listening carefully. The whisper grew louder, but no matter where he looked, he couldn't find the source. His heart started to race. It was as if the voice was right next to him, speaking directly into his ear, but there was no one around. Suddenly, the river began to glow. A strange, pale light emerged from beneath the water, shimmering just below the surface. Jake took a step back, his mind racing to explain what was happening. His flashlight flickered, then went out, leaving him standing in the eerie glow of the river. As Jake stared, transfixed, a figure began to rise from the water. It was a man, an old man, with a gaunt face and hollow, sunken eyes. His clothes were tattered and soaked, clinging to his thin frame as he slowly floated toward the shore. The old man's eyes locked onto Jake, and a cold, humorless smile spread across his face. "Why are you here?" the old man asked, his voice soft but sharp, like the edge of a knife. Jake's mouth went dry. He couldn't move, couldn't speak. Every instinct in his body screamed at him to run, but his feet were frozen in place. The old man floated closer, his feet never touching the ground. His eyes glowed faintly like the river behind him, and his voice was like the wind itself, cold and haunting. "People don't come here after dark," the old man continued, his smile growing darker. "You should have listened." Jake swallowed hard, forcing himself to speak. Who are you?" The old man chuckled, a sound that sent a chill down Jake's spine. "I've been here a long time. Longer than you've been alive. This river, it's mine now, and anyone who comes near it becomes part of it." Before Jake could respond, the old man raised his hand and the glow from the river intensified. Ghostly figures began to emerge from the water, men, women, even children, all with the same hollow, lifeless eyes. They reached out toward Jake, their faces blank, but their presence terrifying. Jake finally found his strength. He turned and ran, his heart pounding in his chest. He sprinted up the path, his feet barely touching the ground, but the whispers followed him, growing louder and louder as if the spirits were chasing him. The trees around him seemed to close in, the shadows growing darker and more oppressive with every step. Just when Jake thought he couldn't run any further, he burst into the clearing where the town began. He stopped and turned, gasping for breath, but the figures were gone. The river was calm again, and the glow had disappeared. Everything looked just as it had before, as if nothing had happened. Jake stumbled back into town, his mind racing. He had no idea how to explain what he had just witnessed, but one thing was certain. There was something very wrong with that river. He didn't tell anyone what he had seen, not at first. He knew they would never believe him. But from that night on, Jake never went near the river again. And whenever he passed by the old dirt road leading to the riverbank, he felt the eyes of the old man watching, waiting for the next person foolish enough to come close after dark. Rivertown's secret was real.
Thank you for watching this eerie tale from Rivertown. What did you think about Jake's encounter with the supernatural? Would you dare to visit a place like this after dark? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, not all legends are just stories.